Well, those who watch this channel regularly will know that occasionally I like to get me little dickie out and have a little bash on it. Sounds horrendous, doesn't it? I'm not talking about what you think I'm talking about. I'm talking about this Mark IV split cane Avon Dickie Walker style. It's not actually a carp rod, as I say, it is the Avon version, so it's not designed for carp fishing. However, so far, on a couple of different features, I've managed to land carp up to 32 pound on this rod. And today, we are gonna try and do something that's probably never been done before, and that is to catch a carp in France on a split cane rod on camera. Now, it might have been done, but as far as I know, not. So yeah, this is what we're up to. I've got a running float on here, which is like a lock and slide, I think they're called. And a very sharp hook. Yeah, so basically it's got this sort of bent plastic that you thread the line through, and that means that wherever you cast it, the float will slide up to the surface, and then you tighten the line up and it locks that in place. So you haven't got to worry about how deep it is. And then on the end here, I've got a 1.5 ounce lead, short braided hook link with two 10mm boilies on a size 4 wide gape hook, and then I'm just going to attach a little bag of ground bait and a few 10mm to that. Now there is a bit of fizzing going on just out here about 20 yards out. I was going to walk around and bait up some spots first, but I'm too excited, so I'm just going to stick a little bag on and flick it on these bubblers out here, and with any luck we might be able to get a French carp on the cane. Let's go, let's go. Oh yeah, they're still bubbling out there. Hopefully this won't spook them. Straight on top of it. Oh, what? The float has come off. How the hell has that happened? Right, well, one for the bloopers. The float has come off somehow. I really don't see how that's even possible, because I threaded it through the plastic bit unless the plastic's split. But anyway, we've now got a little 1.5 ounce inline with a bag on it, flicked on the bubblers, so looks like it's going to be a clutch jobby after all. That's a shame, I really wanted one on a float. I have to wait till it drifts over the other side and get it out and see what the issue is. But yeah, clutch it is. Well, no float to watch, so sitting behind a rod, waiting for the clutch to scream. This is Lake 2 at Negreloube, which has basically been designed as a bit of a kind of family orientated type place, you know. Obviously if you wanted to have a little break and you wanted to come to a nice secluded spot in France and do a bit of fishing, then this is a great place for that. They've got a lovely bell tent over there with a double bed in it, set up with a nice lake view and a grassy lawn, and there's plenty of fish to go at. There's fish to over 40 pound in here, with the average being sort of over 20 pound. So yeah, somewhere you can come and have a bit of sport. And also obviously the other one is, if you're on the main lake and there's no one on here on exclusive bookings, then gives you the opportunity to come over here in the day, just like I have, to have a bit of fun. Or obviously if you're blanking on the main lake and you just want to get a bend in the rod, then yeah, it can just help make you remember that your rigs do work, carp are carp, and you know, you can go back over there with a bit more confidence. Oh, really praying this goes. Such good fun playing fish on this rod. It really is like a battle though, you know. You can only give them so much stick, and you just have to let them tire themselves out, and thankfully there's no weed or snags in here, so I can do just that. Imagine getting a 40 pounder on this rod. I think I'd be in trouble. Just think the guy who built this in the 60s probably never imagined that in 2023 someone was going to be using it for catching carp, or trying to catch carp at least, in France. Love that. Well, no joy up that other end. Felt a bit dead up there, but the wind is blowing up the opposite bank, so yeah, I did have a look down there. I've just had a look for that float. No sign of it. Bit gutting, isn't it? It's the only one I had as well. And it was one of my missions to catch a French carp on a float this week, but there you go. Mission failed by the looks of it. Right, Brad, one of the owners here, has assured me that this little bush down here is one of their hangouts in this lake, because they haven't got many overhangs. In fact, it's probably the only one really that sticks out a bit. So let's give this spot down here a little go, and if I hook on here I need to let it go out in the lake and land it a bit further along the bank, John Wilson style. Well, devastation in the nation. I just managed to lose one from next to that bush, that overhang. It got in there and unhooked itself, and I couldn't get the rig back either. Like, the fish had definitely gone. I could see the hook in a stick. So I just had to walk back round and get some more tackle rigged up. Let's go again. Only this time I'm going to steer clear of that bush and just drop it in the margins here. Wobbly that rod is, it's a joke. 60 years old and still going strong. This is one of the spots I baited up earlier, so hopefully priming it up a little bit has done me a favour. Just get a little bit of crumb in there, and you break crumb up, it goes really fine, and that hangs in the water column for quite a long time, so it's a great attractor. Literally the tiniest amount of crumb will keep a few fish going for quite a long time. Some people probably think it's madness. 340s this morning and I've wound in and I'm round here having a go for the smaller ones. But whatever gives you a buzz, that's what it's all about. And also, one thing to remember is it can be a massive, massive edge to rest your swim. Just leaving it with no lines in the water, whether it's for a day or for a night. You know, fish in these lakes are pressured for sort of 8 months of the year, highly pressured, and you get to this time of year and obviously, you know, they know where the pressure's coming from, and they'll avoid it where possible. So yeah, if you can leave your swim with no lines in it for an extended period of time, quite often the fish will drift into that area, and obviously if they start eating on your spots, then they're going to be revisiting them with confidence. Big edge that, big edge. Oh, there we go. Oh, bramble. Oh no, you can't. Ah, no, you can't. You're not allowed up there. No, no. Ah. Snagsville. Oh no, he's gone round that bramble there. Oh, has he come off? Yes, he's come off. This is the trouble with these rods, is you can only give them so much. I don't want to break it. Please don't break my rod. He just wants to get his head in these brambles down here. Look at that bend. Unreal, that's it mate. You get out in the lake, tie yourself out, keep away from these margins, please. Oh, there she is. She looks pretty much ready. Do you want to just shuffle yourself in there, please, mate? No? No? Okay. Next time, yeah? Oi, oi, careful. Don't be breaking my rod. It's over 60 years old. Well, it's probably 60 years old. Sometime in the 60s, I think. Getting on that way anyway. Right, this way please. Go on in. Yes. Big carp on an antique rod. There's your clickbait. There we go, lovely jubbly. Somewhere around the £20 mark, I reckon. It's hard to say when you've been catching 40s all morning, isn't it? Mega. That's such fun, you know, it's such a buzz playing fishing on that kind of tackle. I think we sort of take the fun out of it a little bit these days with old broomsticks and stupidly strong line and everything else. So yeah, to come around, bring it back to basics and get a little result. Proper good fun. Right then mate, it's probably a bit hot for you out here, isn't it? Let's get you home. Well, there's only one thing that beats catching carp on a float, and that is catching them off the surface. For some reason, French carp are very much renowned for not feeding on the top and being very hard to catch. I've met the odd person who's caught the odd one over the years, but in general, something I've not heard much of, and certainly myself, I've never caught one off the top. Now, Brad actually chucks these a bit of bread occasionally, and they do come up and eat it. So I thought we'd have a little go with a bit of French stick. I can see one down there now actually, so it's going to come up and have a go at that bit. Oh, I just spooked off it. Ah, I spat it out. Go on, go on. Yes. Yeah. Right, now we're in for a battle. I've got to save my battery because it's nearly dead on this. Whoa. So I think we'll come back to it in a minute when I've tired this out of it. Well, literally about at least 10 minutes into this fight, just tearing about, not much I can do about it, but really enjoying it. And this is kind of, you know, what fishing's all about really, is, you know, catching carp, you know. You've got to tire them out. A lot of the times we just get into that routine of like pulling them in as quickly as we can, but back in the day when you used to use old sort of, you know, lighter tackle, it was the only way. Yeah, it's a better one than the last one. I reckon it could be an upper 20. I don't think he's going to beat the 32, but he's got a bit of weight and just does not want to give up at all. He's tiring out now as well. Got Brad on the netting duties. Look at that rod, Ben. If I can get his head up here. Oh. Oh, he's not happy. He's off again. There we go. Right, this time. This time. Yes. Oh. Yeah. Wicked. What a bit of sport. Look at that rod. Proper bit of kit.
Lovely.
Yeah, he's an upper 20 anyway.
Yeah, mate.
Right, there we go. A mega cool mirror. Definitely an upper 20, maybe even a 30, but we're not too worried about numbers, are we? At the end of the day, that was a scrap and a half. Caught him on a bit of bread flake on the surface, watched him take the bait. Can't get more exciting than that. And the good news is, it's nearly dinner time. So we're just about to get well fed again. Happy days. get you back, mate. I reckon he's a 30, you know. He's got some weight to him.
I think so, mate, yeah.
Well, time has come. Getting the dicky boy out for the last time on the main lake. If we could get a big one on this, I'll be absolutely buzzing. And I'm sure Dick Walker will be very proud of me. Not sure if he'd be proud of my baiting pole. No, I'm sure he'd be impressed with that, actually. This is the spot where I caught that one from yesterday. So hopefully it'll do the damage again today. Now, time to sit back in anticipation, in the nation. I'm actually scared to hook a big one on this rod, and I think that's what makes it even more exciting, you know. What do they say? Do something that scares yourself every day. Well, this is definitely scaring me. Obviously, I don't want to break this rod, but if it does break, then at least it's had a good innings. Oh, I felt a bit like Chris Yates, sat here, leant up against a tree behind a split cane. Check me out. Who said I ain't old school? Just need a bottle of wine here now. Chateau Neuf de Pape. Oi, Dickie's away. Shit. Right, now we're in trouble. Oh dear. He's going. Mega. Already the adrenaline's kicked in. Oh, he's off again. Oh, I'm probably going to have to get in the lake. Just hope there's no branches down there. Well, I've got 50 minutes till dinner, so let's see if we can get him in before that. I might be turning up late. Just got to keep this rod tip down because there is a branch that's just touching the surface up there, so I don't want it to be getting caught on that. Well, what did I say? Do something that makes you scared every day. This definitely makes me scared and excited. What an absolute buzz. Look at that rod go. You got some life in your life left in your gill, ain't you? The rod, that is. Mind you, so's this fish. Oh, he's off again. Yeehaw. An Avon, would you believe it? Probably designed for tench, chub, barbel. Certainly not designed for monster carp in France. Ooh. Gotta be a 30 pounder surely. As I say, 32 is the biggest on this rod so far. Look at his head's coming up. No, he's off again. Yeehaw. An Avon, would you believe it? Probably designed for tench, chub, barbel. Certainly not designed for monster carp in France. Oh, go easy, easy. Oh, flicked off its Dorsal then. Ooh. Got to be a 30-pounder surely. As I say, 32 is the biggest on this rod so far. Come on then, that's it. Keep your head up, keep your head up. No, don't go again. Heads up, no. Oh, I've really got to go easy, especially at this angle once it starts getting beneath me. Right, here we go. Come on, Carp, don't break my rod. Don't break my rod. Oh, it's got a big scale on his shoulder as well. No, it's still not ready. Come on. Come on, girl. Up you come. Absolutely mega bit of fishing. What a week. What a lake. Love it. All right. No, 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 no. Not that way. We want you over this way. In this net down here, please. To be sure. Here we go. Come on, get your head up. Get your head up. Get your head up. No, no, head up, up. This way, this way, this way, this way. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, no, so close, but so far. These trees aren't helping me. Come on, we can do this. We got this. I think touching that net upset him even more. Oh, come on, up you come. Come on, that's it, this way, this way. No, 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 no. That's it, that's it. That's it, come on. No, still not. Oh, that looks good. That looks very good. Come on, keep his head up now. This is it, we've got you. We have got you. Come on, come on, come on. Yes! Come on! Go on, the dicky boy! And there we go, you have to excuse the dappled light. It's hard work around here trying to find good spots. But what a buzz. 32.7, so I'm not actually sure of the ounces of it, of the last one in England, but I'm pretty sure it was a scraper 32. So this is my new personal best on the split cane rod. Well chuffed for that one. Right, it's dinner time, so, and also I need a shower badly. So yeah, we're gonna get up there, get well fed, steak and chips tonight. Buzzing. If I don't catch any more, I don't care. I'm more than happy. Now, as you all know, one of the reasons I started the show was to push the benefits of fishing for our mental health. And, you know, it's something that I've touched on a little bit here and there over the last 2.5 years, but it's not something that we've gone into depth Now, recently, a little news story popped up on Instagram, and it was one of the main news channels talking about the scientific benefits of fishing for our mental health. So, this is a proven thing. This isn't just one of Joe's theories. It's actually been proven now. So it's nice to see that kind of thing. But as I said, we've not gone into much depth about it over the last 2.5 years. So I've met a guy called Tim. Now, Tim actually works in this field. He's studied a lot about mental health and the effects it has on our lives and how we can look at that and work on that to improve these benefits. So well, basically, first of all, Tim, thanks for joining us on the show.
Pleasure.
And
Thanks for having me.
offering to share your information.
Yeah.
So what's your background then? How did you get into this?
Yeah, good question. So I was an army officer. I was in the army for about 14 years. And during that time, there were a few sort of typical experiences that, come with that type of job. But I actually sort of sleptwalked toward poor mental health by, on reflection, not really having the awareness and really know what I was pushing off. Because, as we're all used to, none of us really get taught about this stuff at school or as we grow up. The military is one of those organisations where, because everyone is sort of aligned in pursuing a common goal, it's quite an easy place to operate in. But there were times when things were starting to go wrong for me, and it's happened for other people as well, that you feel like you're just in a position where you've got to sort it out yourself, you've got to figure it out. But I just sleptwalked into this situation, which led to burnout and breakdown, and ultimately I was discharged from the army for poor mental health. So in 2016, I was diagnosed with complex PTSD, chronic depression, alcohol disorder, and bipolar disorder.
Wow.
And so I couldn't carry on serving technically. And after about 18 months of trying to figure out which way was up, frankly, I realised that the way forward was actually just to self-navigate that process. So take control of my own recovery, give myself what I call time and space and permission to acquire skills, get more knowledge, figure stuff out bit by bit. And so, I think I'd be quite proud to say now that I figured quite a lot out. I live a pretty good life, and I can help other people who are in similar positions, and also help people to avoid those types of situations through what I've learned and what I do with work. So yeah, there are some key ideas I think we're going to explore over the next few episodes, and really glad to be part of that.
Yeah, it must have been a pretty hard thing to deal with when you've been in that job for so many years, and then suddenly you're not able to do that job. I mean, so yeah, I can imagine it had quite a dramatic effect on your kind of psyche, if you like.
Yeah, that's as a standalone thing, that is a massive thing. So when we as humans invest a lot of effort and a sense of identity and purpose in a particular job or a role or a career, when that is suddenly not an option for you anymore, you experience ultimately a loss of identity, or you can do. And of course that is likely to impact someone's mental health, because they've lost the ability to do what they always intended to do, what they enjoyed doing. But what I've learned is that, that doesn't mean that all is lost. It's just a big change to go through. It was a big change for me because it was compounded by, of course, the standard loss of income, the stuff you expect to come with that type of experience.
And there's a lot of pressure as well, because you've got a family.
Yeah, it's self-induced pressure to then sort of make good again, come good, do something else, make a success of that. But I had all the symptoms and the diagnosis on top of that stuff. So it was a really clunky couple of years, trying to firstly manage those symptoms, calm them down, then go after the root cause, do a lot of thinking about what led up to this. Why did I not pick up on it before I literally, as I describe it, hit the big red button and fell over?
But that can be quite a common thing, can't it, with PTSD? It's sort of, obviously that's only one of the things, but I think we talked about it before when we had a meeting, didn't we? And you said sometimes it can take 9 years, was it? Or something?
Yeah, so there was a study done a few years ago by King's College London, and the study basically suggested that the average emergence of PTSD in veterans was 9 years after the original incident.
Really?
Of course, some of those people will still be serving. They wouldn't necessarily be veterans, but there's a lot I've learned about not only my own but human tendency to ignore early warning signs, to suppress emotion, not share these sort of insights when they happen early with other people, and it comes back to maybe that lack of education. So these declining experiences, or us mentally degrading over time, the symptoms compound, things get more difficult to deal with, and the theory suggests that sooner or later it will come out somewhere. But as you say, it can actually take a long time.
Yeah,
this is not specific to PTSD, I should say.
No, of course.
Any sort of bad experience or condition, yeah.
And what would you say those early warning signs are that we often ignore?
Well, I think the way to simplify it is by expressing that we tend to always experience stress in our body as well as our mind. So, that suggests that we all have something called a stress signature. And when I related to that idea and understood what in me that looks like and feels like, it's quite a good indication that you're tolerating excessive stress. So you're not doing the sorts of things that reduce it. You're not going after the causes and the factors in life that will prevent you experiencing that excessive stress. So the typical ones are losing interest in things you enjoy, trouble with dipping energy, trouble with sleeping, anxiety, losing your appetite or overeating, becoming disconnected from your social circle, your family, the wider world, low self-esteem, lack of self-worth, whether they're feelings of physical stress, deterioration in your health, or changes in your thinking and mood. Like, all of those are indications that you're potentially out of alignment with either who you want to be or where potentially your health should be at. So you can act on all of those things as soon as they're noticeable. And what I also noticed is that quite often other people notice this stuff before you do. It just depends whether those other people are actually going to say anything to you.
Of course.
And they know how to speak to you about it.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's a tricky subject to sort of put on your friends and that, isn't it? But ultimately it's because you've recognised it and you care and you want to help them. So
absolutely. So we can see that across society, particularly evidence through social media in the last couple of years since COVID, I think a much larger proportion of people understand the basics of mental health and how they relate to it, how they experience it, where theirs is at, and they're much more prepared to at least consider talking to others about the general idea and some of the key principles. I'm not saying everyone's comfortable having a big bold conversation, going into lots of detail with someone else. But I can see that society is more open to entertaining the whole subject area. But of course, there are a lot of people struggling out there, aren't they? So I'm really all about helping people to understand causation, but also to build belief and resources and skills in themselves so that they can make some of the key changes that are within their gift, effectively, so they can start to improve that mental health or protect it going forward, rather than sometimes the belief that you need to rely on clinicians and experts to get you out of a hole. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So this idea of time, space and permission.
Yeah.
So this idea of we sleep, if we're in busy jobs, we have busy lives, it's this sort of sense of constant compression and pressure. So there's a lack of time and space. We don't take time out for ourselves.
So it's about making that time and space.
Yeah, ultimately, in terms of self-care, it is essential. So, of course, there's no point being preachy about this. I've learned that over the last few years. You teach the theory to people, the reality practically is quite different for them. But if people want to be in a position where they feel they've got some time and space in their life, like, you're the only person who can create that. And I'm not one of those people who says you can just design your life. But what I've realised is that a lot of people's struggles with stress or poor mental health, they're often sourced from like the practical elements of life, how you're set up in the first place. So it's always worth looking at whether there are opportunities to create time and space by changing things, sharing burden, taking on less stuff, prioritising, all those basics, because I don't think there's any other way necessarily to create time and space or to use it effectively. And of course, let's say the more kids you have, the more the potential for you to be dragged in multiple different directions and use up all that available time. So
of course, and I imagine
benefit if we use it.
Yeah, I imagine it's you must almost feel a level of guilt trying to create that. When you're in your sort of position.
Every time, yeah. So probably it's quite typical family makeup. 2 of us, 2 kids, but that's complex enough for me. And I think still going back to this idea of having an experience where it was so difficult for my wife for a long time and she held everything together, even though this is 6-7 years after the event, that's where some of my guilt comes from. So if I wanted to go off and do rugby coaching, play golf, that type of thing, knowing that I needed that so I could feel good about myself and get all the benefits from being outside and so on, there's always a little bit of guilt that I pull through. So in that situation, the best thing we can do is have a conversation openly about it, recognise that we both have individual needs outside of the family, and we need to help each other to create pockets of space and both take those opportunities.
I mean, with us, obviously, it's the fishing is the perfect kind of time for that. And obviously it has a multitude of benefits, just being outdoors and in nature's energy. Apparently someone recently messaged me and talked about the effects that water has on our brains, and apparently, again, this is a proven thing. I can't remember what it's called, something like blue therapy or something like that. But sunrises, sunsets, being outside, watching the stars. I was in France the other week and I got up at 4 a.m. to a bite, and the stars were just mind-blowing, and it's just like, wow, and just that sense of gratitude for being, having that view of that amazing, thing. It's just so. But yeah, then also we've got the goal side of it. You're normally fishing for, particular fish, or obviously catching fish in general is a goal, even if you're not going for a particular one. So it gets the brain ticking away, and I guess all of that just stops you being in that mindset of worrying about the bills, the stresses, the pressure, and of everything else in everyday life. And like I said to you before, it wasn't until I had a couple of years break of not really fishing much and then going fishing that I actually realised, wow, this is hugely beneficial, and I want to push this, for people to improve their mental health. So with you, it's rugby, I believe, and it was similar for you, wasn't it? You had a break from that.
I completely relate to all of that. So I was really always a team sports guy, and for me it was rugby, and I took huge benefit from mostly playing rugby. Amazing benefits for you, mentally, beyond the physical,
socially. Absolutely,
and I've got this idea of a mental fitness model where you hit 5 key areas, and for me, sports like ours, mine was rugby, yours is fishing, for someone else it would be golf or sailing or hill walking, whatever it is. If your thing, as I describe it, the thing you enjoy doing most, can hit all of those 5 areas at once, then that will ultimately contribute to improving or maintaining your mental fitness. And as you say, I had that break where I just stopped playing because I convinced myself I was too old, too injured, and actually that's when the body started sort of falling apart, when I stopped, lost its structure and everything else, and then I properly lost confidence and never restarting. And it was probably a good 5 years for me to figure out that I could still get most of the benefits to hit those 5 areas without the need to play. So then I realised that the opportunity was coaching, because then you can obviously go beyond yourself and what you need from something, and you can help other people get better as well, and there's another level of satisfaction,
Definitely.
you know, when you're into that coaching. But
using your skills and knowledge. And
yeah, but interestingly, you touched there on, you know, the wider benefits of being outside. Yes, you're going to get more vitamin D. Yes, you're going to get the fresh air. You're going to have those experiences, whatever time of year, you know, watching the stars, chilly nights, early mornings, whatever. You know, that's all stimulating our senses, and that's just, you know, a positive experience overall. But something I learned not long ago was that getting out particularly early, you know, on a day such as today, when the sun comes up, getting out in that natural sunlight at the beginning, that helps reset our circadian rhythm. So we've got this body clock, and it's very slightly creeping out of alignment each day, but it was recommended to me by a sleep expert. It's the best thing you can do. Get yourself into natural sunlight early on in the morning as it comes up, and that's what helps you start sleeping better at night.
right.
And of course, you know, in wider society, we've got quite used to, I suppose, coming on with a different narrative and not necessarily going with our circadian rhythms, because a lot of people are expected to just work all hours. You know, the working day doesn't shift with, you know, the seasons and all the rest of it, and we don't get enough of these opportunities to get out, fresh air, natural sunlight, and, you know, we carry too much stuff with us.
Definitely. Cool. Well, sort of gives a little introduction to who you are, and obviously moving forward, each month we're going to try and focus on a certain element within this field to give you guys some good information, and hopefully something that everyone can benefit from, because as I said before, you know, I wanted to use this platform for good, and I think this is amazing stuff that we can all learn from to help us in the future. So thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Right, well, that's it for this show. Hope you enjoyed it. I certainly gave the old Dickie boy a good workout. Amazing what that rod's up to, really. I'd love to try and catch a 40-pounder on it one day, so that's going to be a future target for sure. Right, some big news for you. Obviously, you would have noticed that this show's quite a bit shorter than they normally are, and the reason for that is I've actually moved the main show over to a subscription website. It was the only way I could keep doing Carp Angle. Obviously, you know, I love doing it, and lots of people seem to really enjoy watching it, so I wanted to continue the journey, but I've always wanted to improve the show. You know, I've had the same camera for the last 3 years, and although it does a good job, you know I could do a much better job with better equipment, and also if I had a budget for much more interesting adventures, then I'd be able to make much better content. So hopefully there's enough of you out there who want to continue watching the journey and being inspired and getting all the information and entertainment that Carp Angle offers. Obviously, you know, it's never been about trying to sell anyone products, and that's one of the reasons why I started it in the first place. You know, a lot of the videos out there are just aimed at selling you stuff, be it bait or tackle, so I wanted something that was going to be a non-commercial project, but also I really wanted to try and just inspire people to go fishing more for their own mental health. We all know, you know, I've talked about it a lot of times now, the benefits fishing has for us and our mental health, and I've had countless messages over the last 3 years from people who thanked me for being inspired to get back out on the bank, because it's relit their passion for the sport and has helped them massively with their own mental health. So that's been brilliant. For that reason, I'm still going to be putting out some content on YouTube every month, because I still want to give a bit back, and obviously also it helps me direct people to the website. Now, I've kept the website as affordable as possible. It's $3.99 a month if you set up a rolling subscription. It's $4.99 a month if you're just paying individually per month. And then there's also a gold card member, which is $7.99 a month. And basically the reason for that is some people like to pay a bit more. They love the show and they want to support it and keep it going, and they're happy to pay a bit more. So what I'm also doing is those who pay $7.99 a month are actually going to be going into a prize draw every month. So I'm going to get some good prizes each time, and you who are paying a little bit more will be in the chance of winning those prizes. So yeah, this is the start of a new journey for Carp Angle, if you like. But like I said, for those who can't afford a subscription, there still will be some content on YouTube each month to keep you all entertained. So the first issue is actually out now, and that's available for free on the website. You can go and watch that. Obviously there's a lot of people who've got set up recurring payments already, so I didn't want to put people in a position where they're going to have to end up paying twice. So the first issue for the next month is going to be free to watch for everyone, and then from the December issue, that's when they're going to start being charged for. So yeah, thank you to everyone who supported this journey so far, and big thanks in advance for those of you who are going to go and subscribe and keep this show on the road. Have a fantastic month, and I'll see you all in December. Oh, quickly before we go, just wanted to say a massive thanks for Tim for his time, and the Eleos Partnership are actually supporting the show a bit over the next year or so, and yeah, obviously wanted to give them a little mention. Now, these aren't my words, so I'm going to read them out, but it just gives you a little idea of what they do and how they might be able to help you as an individual, or the company that you work for, or the company that you run. So basically, the Eleos team help people and organisations dealing with excessive stress find a better sense of identity, connection and purpose, and better strategies for both managing stress and living life. Eleos design and deliver custom training programs for all types of organisation and sector, including Train the Train framework and online learning. So there's actually free resources that are available at the eleospartnership.com if you wanted to check them out. And then obviously, if you wanted to inquire, the email address is inquire@eleospartnership.com, and obviously you'll be able to message them and see if it might be a good fit for your company. They have got some really big customers. I know they were working with Scottish Police a fair bit last year, and yeah, it's obviously something that is very successful and might be worth applying to your company if you've got a company, or you know, suggesting to your boss if you think that would fit where you work. So yeah, a great, God, just seen a massive great fizz come up out there. Talk about distraction, yeah. But yeah, a great company who are doing great things, and well worth looking into. Ah, bonjour, ça va? Je m'appelle Joe. First French carp for quite a long time. Lovely, lovely. Mate, it is absolutely going off out there. Nothing short of epic, to be honest with you. Oh, easy, easy. Oh. Wicked. What a fish. Well, I felt a bit like Chris Yates. Sat here, leant up against a tree behind a split cane. Chateauneuf-du-Pape. This definitely makes me scared and excited. What an absolute buzz. Look at that rod go. Microphone. Oh, shit.
Carping calamities. Christ, I've had plenty of them, mate, over the years.
There was a lot more fish shown in Albert's side. So I stood the other side of Albert's bivvy, and I went whack. So he heard this whack, and he went like that. He said, "What was that?" Right, and I put my rod down, put it in the clip, and I said, "Keep an eye on that." He went, "Oh," he said, "You just cast in me swim."
I think it's like, well, you either get it or you don't, didn't you?
As I've looked down at Phil, all I can see him doing is looking at the yacht, going like this, giving him this, and in front of him, he must have had about 50 balls of ground bait.
If we all put as much time and effort into business as we did into fishing, we'd probably all be millionaires.
Next thing, he's splattering the bloat, splattering his hair, and the hatch would quickly close.
He said, like, you're only allowed 2 rods. He said, no loud music. And then he looked at me like that, and he didn't know what to say about the joint. That was the early time when you go and easily led, you know what I mean? And